Let no man therefore lose heart from thinking that he cannot do what others have done before him. For as I have said in my preface, men are born and live and die, always in accordance with the same rules. Niccolo Machiavelli. The medieval era, a time of kings and queens, emperors and empresses, a time of tremendous figures who forever left their mark on people and borders, and of tremendous fools who squandered their fortunes and shattered young nations. Our history has its own winners and losers. Well, what would history look like if fortune favored the rolled? Alright, hello everyone and welcome. I'm going to be doing a Paradox Megacampaign. I am Alexander the Grim, and this is my first ever video on YouTube, but it's going to be so professional you're just not even going to be able to tell the difference. So, yeah, I'm going to be starting with Crusader Kings III. I have all my Paradox games here just to show that I have put way too much time into these games, especially Crusader Kings II, which I have far too many hours in. But I will be starting with the newer game, Crusader Kings III, because I just think it looks pretty and is a really good game. Imperator, I love Imperator. The 2.0 update is really great, but I just don't want to deal with the massive gap in history between Imperator and CK3. So we're going to start with CK3. We're going to go to EU4, for those of you who don't know how a mega campaign works. We can port our save file between games, so we're going to go from Crusader Kings 3 to EU4, which I have a little bit more experience in than I do the final game, which is going to be Victoria 2, which I'm really not that good at. 115 hours is nothing in Paradox time. I have started the tutorial, essentially. And then we have Stellaris. I don't know if we'll go to Stellaris, because that's a very different kind of game, but I don't know. We'll see. So, Crusader Kings 3. Let's do it. Alright, so while Crusader Kings 3 loads up here, we'll talk about some of the rules that we're going to be using for this campaign. In Crusader Kings 3, it can be really easy to blob. Just take over insane parts of the world. Even having only 165 hours in this game, and having not played it for a while either, honestly, my experience in Crusader Kings 2 makes it so that I can do a lot of conquering in this game. So I don't want to get too big before EU4, so what we're going to do instead of playing as one country is we're going to steal an idea from an old Paradox YouTuber named Arumba. He had a franchise that he called his Quantum Leap campaigns, where he would switch countries that he was playing as between character deaths. So what we're going to do is every time we get, we're going to start with a random character. Every time we get a character to king level, we're going to finish playing that character. And then when that character dies, we're going to switch to a totally new dynasty, completely randomly. So hopefully we'll be able to build up lots of interesting, powerful countries around the world to load into EU4. I am not as good at EU4 as I am at Crusader Kings, so by the time we get to EU4, we might just stick with one country. We might get to number 1 great power and switch after that. We might switch when we get to Victoria 2, play with the idea of a new great power rising, the way the United States kind of popped up against the UK in the original timeline. So I don't know, we'll play with that when we get there, but in Crusader Kings 3 we're going to be hopping around, and it's going to be random. If I load into a king character, I'm going to play him to Emperor, or play his dynasty to Emperor, so we'll be able to get some empires going maybe as well. It's pretty unlikely that I'll randomly roll a king. We'll see how that goes. I mean, most of the characters on the map are not kings just by virtue of, kings have a lot of land. And they have vassals under them who are not kings, so. The other thing is if we start as a vassal, and even if we're like a vassal to an emperor, I want to go ahead and become an independent king. before I switch characters. So if we start as a duke in Greece, for example, we're going to screw the Byzantine Empire up, and we are going to become the king of Greece, independent king of Greece, because why not? Alright, so here we go. Alright, so we're going to start in 867. There's some things that are a little screwy about 867, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be one of the things that we're going to be able to hopefully fix by doing the bouncing around thing. And I'll talk about what some of those things are. One, the Byzantine Empire is probably just going to exist forever. I haven't played CK3 in a while, so I don't know what they've fixed and not fixed. But even in Crusader Kings II, the Byzantines, they're around for too long. The Seljuks don't really come in and kick butt the way they need to. Europe's going to be weird and ugly and messy. That just always happens in 867. We're not going to have English people, so if I load into a Viking character, I'm going to try to create Norman culture, and then hopefully try to create English culture so that English people can exist. But, you know, if there's no English people in our timeline, we'll just have to live with that. Let's see. Oh, and Islam. Islam is just not very exciting in the 867 timeline. There's no Rise of the Shia event in Crusader Kings III, as far as I know. So we mostly just have the Ashari, which are like a Sunni sub-branch. There's just not a whole lot going on. So what we're going to do is, if we do load into a Muslim character, we might switch to a different form of Islam, just to kind of get some other Muslim faiths going, besides just Sunni Islam. Alright, so now we're going to have to pick our game settings, which are going to be really important. We're going to play on normal difficulty. I don't like giving the AI any bonuses. We're not really playing this to test our skills. I'm just trying to build a cool world. We are going to roleplay as well, so I'm going to try to play the characters as they are, which means, you know, it might take a character or two before we build up a kingdom. If we start as some loser idiot who doesn't want to build a kingdom, we're just going to have to kill that guy, or, you know, figure out something. It's Crusader Kings. We'll figure it out. Okay, so exclave independence. Exclaves with independent AI rulers will be removed. Alright, significant, total. We're going to play on significant. I don't really think the AI can handle total, and I don't really want to limit it to just the AI because, you know, I can deal with this. Murder schemes, we're not on multiplayer. Diseases, default is fine. Matrilineal marriages, default is fine. Gender equality, default is fine. Mongol invasion, default. Yeah, default's cool. Regional heresies, okay. Strict. Relaxed. I'm going to play on default. I usually play on strict because I like things to be kind of historically accurate, but I think default's going to give us a more exciting world for the mega campaign. I just hope we don't get anything really goofy. I feel like the last time I played on default, I had a weird dualistic faith pop up in France that in reality had only ever existed in the Middle East, and it just didn't really make sense coming out of France, so we'll see how that goes. Culture conversion speed, I'm going to turn this all the way down, and faith conversion speed as well. The main reason I do this is because Crusader Kings 3, really Crusader Kings 2 as well, doesn't have any way to model like minority cultures or religions really well, the way that Victoria 2 would, for example, because it has the pop system. So if we don't do this, a lot of cultures and religions are just going to kind of die out, because the province can only have one culture and one religion. So hopefully this will help them stick around a little bit longer. It's kind of heavy-handed. It's going to take a really long time to convert provinces, but this is just kind of how you have to do it when you're playing Crusader Kings. EU4 kind of has a similar problem, so yeah. Diplo range, I like to put this on restricted, just to kind of keep the diplomacy as local as possible. No random marriages. France bringing the Abbasids in, although that did happen historically. I don't think they ever actually like called each other into a war. I don't know, but they were allies. And you might learn some history in this video too. I'm gonna share really random facts, and most of them are gonna be just like that one. It's gonna be one confirmed interesting thing. The Franks and the Abbasids had an alliance, and then a whole bunch of I don't know anything else about it because I don't know, man. I'm not an Abbasid historian, but yeah. So restricted. We're gonna end in 1453. We'll probably run this all the way to 1453. I think even the later medieval period is probably better modeled by Crusader Kings than by EU4. So we'll be starting our EU4 campaign in 1453. We might also run our EU4 campaign a little bit longer than the typical EU4 end date to kind of make up for that, and also to kind of cover some of the time between EU4 and Victoria 2. De jure requirement. Titles will de jure land. Alright, so de jure requirement we're just going to turn on. De jure land. You need de jure land to keep the title. Cool. Custom kingdoms. Yes. Makes the world more vibrant. Generate families on. The AI is really kind of dumb in the beginning of the game. This will cause a bunch of weird consolidation of titles because they won't get married and they'll just die. The early game over thing, I mean, it's nice. Yeah, let's do AI only. I don't need families generated for me. I'm fine. Well, landed historical characters. Yeah, just AI because that's fine. Even if I have to get my brothers married or whatever, I can deal with that. Same-sex relations is gonna be on default. Sexuality distribution. I'm kind of tempted to make everybody gay, but I'm not. Or bi. I like how it doesn't mess with achievements. You can make everyone asexual and still get achievements. I think that's beautiful. Thank you, Paradox. Faith acceptance. You can't make everyone accept all religions, but you can make everybody asexual or bisexual. I think that's fun. That's way more fun. Randomized faiths. Off. Yeah. Why would I turn that on? Hungarian migration. I should probably turn this on to immediate. I feel like the AI can't handle it otherwise, but I'm going to put it on historical because why not? I usually put it on historical. I know that it's probably not going to work out, but we'll see. Scandinavian adventurers. Now, I have not played with the Northern Adventurer Viking expansion thing yet, so I have no idea how annoying this is in practice. I know in Crusader Kings II, adventurers were very annoying, so I'm tempted to turn this down to occasional, but the game is telling me that frequent is the default, so you know what, let's go for it, because I think Vikings invading random places around the world, well, I guess Russia and the North Sea, but that's what they did, so that'll make our world more historical. We're going to try to make it historical and then see the ways that it gets screwed up because it's Paradox. It's a Paradox Megacampaign. That's what you're supposed to do. Alright, random ruler placement. We don't want that at all. I am not going to turn Iron Man on. I do usually play with Iron Man because I like achievements and because I am a save scummer when I do not. I will not be save scumming this campaign because, I don't know, I just want it to unfold. But I am going to leave Iron Man off because it can screw up conversions. So, yeah. Gonna miss you, Iron Man. So let's do it. We have our settings. And now the grand moment where we pick our first character. And I have just done all that live. I mean, not really live. This is going to be recorded and edited and stuff. But, you know, when I hit this random button, I'm taking the very first character that pops up. Even if they kind of suck. I don't super want to play in India. I feel like India's a little bit boring right now. It needs some DLC. Africa would be awesome. I would love to build a cool kingdom in Africa. The Norse stuff would be really cool because I'd love to play with the new DLC. Anything in the pagan regions can be kind of cool. I could try to reform the faiths maybe. So let's see what we get. Maybe the Magyars? I don't know. That'd be wild. So, random. And I got India, of course. So that's just how this goes, man. You don't want to play India, and the game's like, hey, play India. And I specifically didn't want India because last time I did a random campaign, I started in India, and I got kind of bored with it. So we're gonna do it though. We're Hindu. What's the religious distribution like in India right now? Are we Hindu? Yeah, that's Hindu. So there's a lot going on. That's fun. All right, we'll just enjoy all this wonderful religious diversity. That's Indian history in a nutshell. We're Rajput. The Rajput are really cool. They had a warrior caste. Those little chakram things, those circular blades. I'll edit a picture onto the screen later. They use those things. They're pretty cool. I don't know if they use them in this time period, but maybe we can get some of those. So yeah, we're going to be starting as Raja Udaysang of the Tomara Raj. House Tomara is our dynasty. The preserving mind knows right. We have 7 living members. That's not very many. We are insignificant. And let's see, what kingdom are we in? Delhi, cool. So we're in a pretty central part of India from what our capital is Delhi. Okay. All right, so we are in a really good spot, I think. We are paranoid, chaste, and gregarious. Well, let's just go ahead and load in.